So now I have plenty of videos on this online and stuff, or on my subscription site, but at the same time, it's nice to see over and over again. Same thing, human anatomy, clothing anatomy, who cares? Approximately, I can go right into here, and I know I have your hip joint, right? Iliac crest is top of the hips, whether you feel it or not. Usually your hand can go, where your hands want to go here, it's the hips. Where your hand, the top part of the crest of the, here is the actual hip joint. This is where it's fun. You just take a pizza hand, you'll feel a little bump. So I'm just coming under here with the pizza hand, and you know, there's a bump. Now, you never see me doing, even if I don't know what I'm doing, is, I just go in stick, and I start moving, and then I worry about if I'm, quote, on the spot that's correct for you. All of this, quote, tightness and all this underneath, the pelvic rotation, is going to be completely different for each person.
Alrighty.
Here, hold on.
We got one.
Same thing too, like when I say protect the vestibular system, I'm protecting the vestibular system on you or Arlie or the 3-month-old. If I just went like this versus two-handed, feel the difference? It makes a huge difference. Again, where if I just go like this, same touch, but how much more you need to brace versus this. So that being said, I'm into the hip joint. I'm using the gravity, or I should say just the weight of my hand as part of the lesson, and I'm slowly doing a rotation down into the floor. And if you notice right now, and I don't have to show it on film, your tailbone's hardly wagging. You feel you don't have a counter shift, and that's okay. So I'm doing this, now I'm going up a little bit because I tried a couple of times to go down. Oh, look at the difference already. Now that I went up just that little bit. So again, I'll show that. I'm going, now my thumb is pushing up and I'm going up. But see how I'm asking you to counter. And then I come back down. So now your shoulders are learning how to sway. So now I'm going to go back down.
My shoulders were supposed to be hard for me.
Well, look at Arlie. Look at Arlie right there sitting.
Yeah.
Here, I'll turn it around the camera just to show. Now she's just there sitting. Look at how much those shoulders move. Look at how much the pelvis moves. She's just, and that's just sitting. Yeah. Even when she twists her head and all that, look at how much her system moves. And now, feel, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that you have to drive a car and go, however, if you go into high-end sports, if you start going into roller skating or skiing, I'll tell you, you need those shoulders to move. So I'm almost at the point now, there we go. See, now I'm rotating the hips. There's still a little bit of stagnation here and there, but notice too, look at my hands. I'm maybe moving like 1/4 of an inch. By the way, when I stop touching you, I'm doing finger movement for the camera. I'm not trying to be. So now I can come in out and do the same thing for the top of the crest, the iliac crest. So same thing, I'm going to tilt. Now the tilt's a little bit off, so I'm going to bring my left hand up to assist me. But my visualization, again, is this whole pelvis rolling over onto the sit bone, or the standing leg, or the kicking leg, whichever side I'm working on. Now I'm going to lift and come back down. Something I did sort of with Arlie, I'm going to come in with my hand, and again, no rotation whatsoever. You feel that? But for you, I'm going to hang out there because I know your history. I'm going to bring my hand in all the way around, and all I'm doing is to look to see where's going to be a point, but notice I'm pushing down here in the femur, there we go, and coming back down. There we go. See? Circles. Now, first time you've shifted. See now how you can shift, and there's your tailbone starting to wag. See how the spine shifts, sways, tailbone's going. Now I can go back to the first. See how now that first movement is so much more. Now the lift I can do, I'm into the SI joint, but still lifting the pelvis up through the sacrum. This movement, by the way, is really important. You have a lot of bands of ligaments, muscles all through the lower lumbar. And this is where people, when they start to age and they go after degenerative disc disease, all here. Well, I can tell you, if this, excuse my French, if this is screwed, this is, you know what I mean? Because this is what this is what I'm trying to teach you. And this is where people go, well, I told you my back hurt. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going after that tush. Or the feet. Going underneath is a light lift. Now this is more difficult. So feel now the lift of the pelvis here versus now me asking the femur to do it. So now I'm going to put you down on my hand and tilt the femur with my fingers as I'm rolling you over my hand. And I'm exaggerated because I can get away with it. Do you feel how light you are? This is what I was showing with the baby, how boom, boom, you're very light. Same movement over here. Hey, I can hardly get my hand under your tush. See the difference? Look at how you want to tighten your abs because you're afraid of coming back on me. So if I went back like this, now your whole back is versus here. See the difference? How you roll over to my system. Back to the first move. There we go. Now I'm tilting through the vertebrae in your lower back. See how much easier I can rotate through here, and I go not even an inch lower. There we go. Now I'm shifting all the work I did to the other pelvis without working on the other pelvis. Again, same thing I did with picking up the baby. Up and over to the other side. Feel how the system balances. And with that, walk around.
For whatever reason, this ankle feels lighter than this one. And this really...
Because that's what I was talking about with Arlie. Shift over to that foot, and now that foot comes up just much more naturally.
Weird.
Because that's a counterbalance. I didn't do it on the other side. That's my whole argument with counterbalance. If you can't balance this way where the foot tips up, or vice versa. So I didn't work on this side. So your right foot doesn't have that sequencing of coming up.
It comes up and over this way.
Right.
That's so I would have thought that this ankle would feel better because you
But
did this side,
but that's balance.
Yeah.
What I work with more so is counterbalance.
I should think about that. It's like, that feels weird. This ankle is tight compared to this one, but we did this hip, and that makes sense now that I think about it.
But that's when I
But
did.
it's not what I expected.
But that's what I did while he's standing. When I shifted her, that other foot came up, and the foot's very free in the ankle, and then you do it the other side.
Yeah, watching her move her ankles is
Yeah.
good.